a quiet summer evening, the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The gentle sound of waves lapping against the side of a small fishing boat filled the air. 12-year-old Maya Johnson stood at the edge of the boat, her dark braids swaying slightly in the breeze as she gazed out at the endless expanse of water around her. Her parents, Lisa and Marcus, were busy organizing their fishing gear, laughing softly as they joked about who would catch the biggest fish that day. Maya loved these trips with her family. They didn't happen often. Her parents worked long hours at their jobs, but whenever they did, it felt like the whole world slowed down just for them. There was something magical about being out on the open water, far away from the noise and rush of everyday life. For Maya, it was a chance to feel free, to imagine herself as an explorer discovering new lands or a sailor navigating uncharted seas. As the last rays of sunlight faded, the temperature began to drop, and a cool breeze swept across the ocean. Maya shivered but didn't mind. She wrapped her arms around herself and turned to look at her parents. "Do you think we'll see any dolphins tonight?" she asked, her voice filled with curiosity. Marcus chuckled. "Maybe, sweetheart. If we're lucky." He glanced up at the sky, which was quickly turning dark. "But let's reel in the line soon. It's getting late, and your mom promised us hot cocoa when we get home." Lisa nodded, smiling warmly at her daughter. "That's right. So no more distractions, you hear me?" Maya grinned and gave a mock salute. "Aye, aye, Captain Mom." The three shared a laugh, the kind that comes easily when you're surrounded by people you love. But just as Marcus started packing up the fishing rods, the wind picked up suddenly. At first it was barely noticeable, a little stronger than before, but within minutes, it grew into a steady howl. The calm waters that had seemed so peaceful moments ago now churned violently, tossing the small boat back and forth. "What's going on?" Lisa asked, gripping the railing tightly. Her voice carried a hint of worry. "I don't know," Marcus replied, his brow furrowed. "This storm wasn't supposed to hit until tomorrow. I checked the forecast this morning." Maya looked between her parents, sensing their unease. She tried to stay calm, reminding herself that her dad always knew what to do in tricky situations. Still, her heart raced as the boat rocked harder, making it difficult to keep her balance. Marcus hurried to the engine, hoping to turn the boat around and head back toward shore. But when he turned the key, nothing happened. He tried again, pumping the throttle, but the engine sputtered weakly before falling silent altogether. Panic flashed across his face, though he tried to hide it from Maya and Lisa. "Is it broken?" Lisa asked, her voice trembling. I think so," Marcus admitted reluctantly. "We'll have to call for help." He reached for his phone, only to find there was no signal, no bars, nothing. The storm must have interfered with the network. Frustration boiled inside him, but he forced himself to take deep breaths. Losing his cool wouldn't help anyone. Maya watched silently, her wide eyes reflecting both fear and determination. She didn't fully understand everything that was happening, but she knew one thing. They needed help. And fast. Her mind raced as she thought about what she could do. Then, it came to her, a lesson from school. Earlier that year, during a science class, Maya's teacher had taught the students about Morse code. She remembered practicing the patterns with flashlights, learning how to spell out messages using short and long flashes of light. One phrase stuck in her memory above all others: SOS, 3 short flashes, 3 long flashes, 3 short flashes. Again, it was a universal distress signal, a way to call for help even without words. Without saying anything, Maya slipped away from the railing and grabbed the flashlight her dad kept in the storage compartment. She climbed onto the seat near the bow of the boat, positioning herself where she could be seen from a distance. Holding the flashlight steady, she began flashing the pattern over and over again into the darkening sky. Short flash, short flash, short flash, long flash, long flash, long flash, short flash, short flash, short flash. Her hands shook from the effort, but she refused to stop. Each flash felt like a lifeline, a tiny beacon of hope cutting through the chaos of the storm. Lisa noticed what Maya was doing and called out, "What are you doing, baby?" "Sending an SOS," Maya replied, her voice firm despite the tears welling up in her eyes. "Someone might see it." Lisa blinked in surprise, then smiled through her fear. "You're amazing, you know that?" Marcus joined them, wrapping an arm around his wife and daughter. "She's right," he said, his tone full of pride. "Keep going, Maya. You're our best shot." For what felt like hours, Maya continued, signaling, her arms growing heavier with each passing minute. Lightning streaked across the sky, followed by deafening claps of thunder. Rain began to pour down, soaking everyone on the boat. Yet Maya never stopped. Every time doubt crept into her mind, she pushed it aside, focusing instead on the rhythm of the flashes. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the reach of the storm's fury, two men were about to change everything, for Maya, for her family, and for themselves. Little did Maya know, her tiny flashlight was about to attract the attention of two unlikely heroes who would soon become part of her story forever. Far from the chaos of the storm, two men were enjoying a rare moment of relaxation. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena, both known for their larger-than-life personalities and impressive careers in wrestling and entertainment, had decided to spend the weekend on separate but nearby yachts off the coast of Florida. The plan was simple: unwind, recharge, and maybe even have a little friendly competition. Earlier that day, they had joked about racing their boats, each boasting about whose yacht could cut through the waves faster. But as the weather turned sour, those plans were quickly abandoned. The storm rolling in forced them to dock temporarily, waiting for the worst of it to pass. Still, neither man was one to sit idle for long. They found ways to keep busy. Dwayne lifted weights on his yacht's deck while John practiced some yoga poses, stretching out his muscles after days of intense workouts. As dusk settled over the ocean, Dwayne stepped outside to stretch his legs after an intense session with the dumbbells. He wiped the sweat from his brow and took a deep breath of the salty sea air. That's when something unusual caught his eye: a faint flickering light in the distance. At first he thought it might be another boat or perhaps a reflection from the moon bouncing off the water, but as he squinted harder, he realized it wasn't random. It seemed deliberate, rhythmic even. Curious, Dwayne grabbed a pair of binoculars from inside the yacht and trained them on the source of the light. Through the lenses, he saw a small fishing boat being tossed around by the waves. Someone aboard was using a flashlight to send flashes into the night sky. His heart skipped a beat when he recognized the pattern. Short, 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 long, 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 short, short, short. SOS. Without wasting a second, Dwayne reached for the marine radio mounted near the helm of his yacht. "Hey, Cena," he said into the microphone, his deep voice calm but urgent. "You seeing this? There's some kind of signal out there." A crackle came through the speaker before John's voice responded. "What do you mean, Rock?" "There's a light flashing in the distance," Dwayne explained. "Looks like Morse code. I think someone's in trouble." John immediately sprang into action. He grabbed his own pair of binoculars and climbed onto the deck of his yacht, scanning the horizon. Sure enough, he spotted the same flickering light. After studying it for a few moments, he confirmed what Dwayne suspected. "Yeah, that's definitely an SOS," John said, his tone serious now. "We need to check it out." Both men knew the risks of heading out into the storm. The waters were rough and visibility was poor, but neither hesitated. This wasn't just about being heroes. It was about doing the right thing. People were in danger and they had the means to help. Dwayne fired up the engine of his yacht while John did the same with his. They coordinated their movements over the radio, agreeing to approach the signal together for safety. As they navigated through the choppy waters, the reality of the situation began to sink in. Whoever was sending that SOS was likely scared, cold, and desperate. And if no one else was close enough to respond, they might be the only hope. The closer they got, the clearer the scene became. The small fishing boat was barely staying afloat, its occupants clinging to whatever they could to stay steady. Dwayne could see figures moving on board, waving frantically as the yachts approached. One figure stood out, a young girl, holding a flashlight and continuing to flash the SOS signal despite the storm raging around her. "Look at that kid," Dwayne muttered under his breath, his admiration evident. "She hasn't given up." John nodded, gripping the wheel of his yacht tightly. "That's determination right there. We can't let her down." As they pulled alongside the fishing boat, the full picture became clear. A family of 3, 2 adults and the brave young girl, were stranded, their faces pale with exhaustion and fear. The father shouted something unintelligible over the howling wind, pointing toward the engine of their boat, which appeared to be dead. The mother clutched the railing, tears streaming down her face, while the girl continued flashing the flashlight, her hands trembling but resolute. Dwayne and John exchanged a glance. Neither needed words. They knew exactly what to do. With practiced precision, they maneuvered their yachts into position, creating a stable platform to bring the stranded family aboard. Dwayne tossed a thick rope to secure the vessels together, ensuring they wouldn't drift apart in the turbulent waters. Meanwhile, John prepared blankets, life jackets, and bottled water, ready to offer immediate comfort once the rescue was underway. Maya, the young girl with the flashlight, finally stopped signaling as she realized help had arrived. Her arms dropped to her sides, and for a brief moment, she simply stared at the 2 massive figures standing on the decks above her. She recognized them instantly. The wrestlers she'd seen on TV countless times, the ones who inspired her with their strength and charisma. For a moment, she forgot her fear and felt a surge of awe. Her mother, Lisa, stepped forward, her voice breaking as she called out, "Thank you. Thank you so much." Marcus, Maya's father, helped guide his wife and daughter toward the ropes Dwayne had secured. Slowly but surely, the family made their way onto Dwayne's yacht, where warmth and safety awaited them. Maya was the last to climb aboard, her legs wobbling from fatigue. As soon as she reached the deck, she collapsed into a seat, clutching the flashlight tightly as if it were a lifeline. John knelt beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "Hey there, champ," he said softly. "You did great out there. Real brave." Maya looked up at him, her eyes wide with disbelief. You're John Cena," she stammered, her voice barely audible over the storm. John chuckled. "Guilty as charged, and that big guy over there is The Rock. You've probably heard of him too." Dwayne walked over, his towering frame casting a shadow over the group. He crouched down to Maya's level, his expression kind. "We're just glad we got here in time," he said. "You saved your family tonight. That flashlight of yours? It's like a superhero tool." Maya managed a weak smile, though her body still shook from the ordeal. Her parents thanked the 2 men repeatedly, their gratitude overwhelming. Lisa hugged Maya close, murmuring words of comfort, while Marcus explained how the storm had left them powerless. Dwayne listened intently, nodding as he processed the details. Once everyone was settled, John handed out blankets and bottles of water. He noticed how Maya kept glancing at the flashlight in her hands, as if reluctant to let it go. "You know," he said gently, "you don't have to hold on to that anymore. You're safe now." Maya hesitated, then nodded. She set the flashlight aside, her fingers lingering on it for a moment longer. Despite the warmth of the blanket wrapped around her shoulders, she couldn't shake the chill that lingered deep inside. It wasn't just from the storm. It was from the realization of how close they had come to disaster. As the storm began to subside, Dwayne and John conferred quietly about the next steps. They decided to escort the family back to the marina, where emergency responders would be waiting, to ensure everyone was okay. Along the way, they did their best to keep spirits high, sharing stories and cracking jokes to lighten the mood. Maya listened intently, occasionally chiming in with shy comments that made her parents smile. By the time they reached the dock, the rain had stopped completely, leaving behind a sky dotted with stars. Emergency crews were already on site, ready to assist the Johnson family. Reporters had also gathered, eager to hear the incredible story of how 2 wrestling legends had come to the rescue of a stranded family. But Dwayne and John deflected the attention, insisting the real hero was Maya. She kept her cool under pressure, Dwayne told the crowd, gesturing toward the young girl. That's what true strength looks like. For Maya, hearing those words from someone she admired so much was unforgettable, As her parents thanked Dwayne and John once more, she realized something important. Sometimes bravery isn't about having all the answers. It's about refusing to give up, even when everything seems impossible. And on that stormy night, surrounded by people who cared, Maya discovered a courage within herself that she never knew existed. As the storm began to calm and the waters grew less violent, Dwayne and John focused on getting the Johnson family safely back to shore. The two men worked together seamlessly, their years of friendship and mutual respect shining through in every decision they made. They knew that while the immediate danger had passed, the family still needed care and reassurance. Dwayne's yacht became the main vessel for the rescue, as it was larger and more stable than John's. He guided everyone aboard with steady hands, making sure no one slipped or stumbled in the lingering waves. Lisa, Marcus, and Maya huddled together on the deck, wrapped in blankets and sipping warm water that John had thoughtfully prepared. Despite their exhaustion, there was a sense of relief in the air, a quiet understanding that they were finally safe. John stayed close to Maya, sensing her mix of awe and disbelief at meeting two of her idols. He knelt beside her again, his voice soft but full of warmth. "You know," he said, "you're pretty incredible. Not many people could stay so calm in a situation like that." Maya looked up at him, her dark eyes wide. She opened her mouth to speak but hesitated, unsure of what to say. Finally, she managed a small smile. I didn't want us to be stuck out there anymore." "Well, you did exactly what you needed to do," John replied, nodding approvingly. "That flashlight might as well have been a superhero cape." Dwayne overheard the comment and chuckled. "Yeah, kid, you saved the day. We're just glad we saw your signal in time." Marcus stepped forward, his voice thick with emotion. "We can't thank you both enough. If it weren't for you—" His words trailed off, but the gratitude in his eyes said everything. Lisa added her thanks too, tears streaming down her face. "You have no idea how much this means to us. To all of us." The Rock waved a hand dismissively, though his expression remained kind. "Don't mention it. It's what anyone would have done." But deep down, everyone knew that wasn't true. Not everyone would have braved the storm. Not everyone would have noticed the faint SOS signal, and certainly not everyone would have acted with such determination and compassion. These two men weren't just celebrities. They were real-life heroes. As the yachts made their way back to the marina, the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Dwayne and John shared funny stories from their wrestling days, recounting moments that had audiences roaring with laughter or cheering wildly. Maya listened intently, occasionally giggling at their antics. Her parents joined in, sharing memories of watching matches with Maya when she was younger. "I always liked your moves better," Maya admitted shyly, looking at John Cena. "But my dad says The Rock is stronger." John raised an eyebrow, pretending to be offended. "Oh, really? Stronger, huh?" Dwayne grinned, flexing his biceps dramatically. "Facts, kid, facts." Everyone laughed, the tension of the past few hours melting away. For a brief moment, it felt like they were just a group of friends enjoying a night on the water, rather than survivors of a harrowing ordeal. When they finally arrived at the marina, emergency responders were waiting. Paramedics checked the Johnson family for signs of hypothermia or injury, but aside from being exhausted and shaken, they were physically unharmed. Reporters had gathered nearby, drawn by the commotion and eager to hear the story of the dramatic rescue. Cameras flashed as Dwayne and John helped the family disembark from the yacht. One reporter called out, "Mr. Johnson, Mr. Cena, what happened out there tonight?" Dwayne held up a hand, silencing the crowd. "Before we say anything, let me make one thing clear. The real hero here is Maya." He gestured toward the young girl who stood nervously beside her parents. "She kept her head when things got tough and used what she had to send an SOS signal. That took guts." John nodded in agreement. "We're just glad we were able to help. But trust me, Maya did most of the work." The reporters turned their attention to Maya, who suddenly found herself in the spotlight. A microphone was thrust toward her, and a voice asked, "How does it feel to meet The Rock and John Cena?" Maya blinked, taken aback by the question. After a pause, she said softly, "It feels amazing, but I'm just happy we're okay." Her honesty drew applause from the crowd, and even the seasoned reporters couldn't hide their smiles. It was clear that Maya's courage and humility had left a lasting impression on everyone present. Once the initial excitement died down, Dwayne and John escorted the Johnson family to a nearby lounge area where hot drinks and snacks awaited them. Lisa and Marcus sat close to each other, holding hands tightly as if afraid to let go. Maya curled up in a chair, clutching a steaming mug of cocoa. Though her body was still weary, her mind buzzed with thoughts of the evening's events. "Do you think people will remember this?" she asked quietly, glancing at her parents. Marcus smiled. "Of course they will. You showed everyone what it means to be brave." Lisa leaned over and kissed the top of Maya's head. "And we'll never forget it either." Dwayne and John lingered for a while longer, ensuring the family felt comfortable before stepping aside to give them some privacy. As they stood near the entrance of the lounge, John shook his head in amazement. "Can you believe that? A 12-year-old girl saving her whole family like that?" Dwayne nodded, his expression thoughtful. "It's a reminder that strength comes in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes it's not about muscles or fame, it's about heart." John agreed. "And Maya's got plenty of that." They decided to stick around until the Johnsons were ready to leave. In the meantime, they fielded questions from reporters and posed for photos with fans who had gathered at the marina. Despite their fame, neither man seemed bothered by the attention. Instead, they used the opportunity to highlight Maya's bravery, redirecting praise toward her whenever possible. By the time the Johnsons were ready to head home, the sky had cleared, completely revealing a blanket of stars above. Dwayne and John walked them to their car, offering hugs and final words of encouragement. "If you ever need anything," Dwayne told Marcus, "don't hesitate to reach out. We've got your back." John added, "And Maya, keep shining like you did tonight. The world needs more people like you." Maya blushed, overwhelmed by their kindness. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." As the car drove away, Dwayne and John stood side by side, watching until its taillights disappeared into the distance. Neither spoke for a moment, letting the significance of the night sink in. "You know," John said eventually, "nights like this remind me why we do what we do. It's not just about entertaining people, it's about making a difference." Dwayne nodded. "Couldn't have said it better myself." With that, the two friends climbed back onto their yachts, ready to return to their weekend getaway. But, as they sailed away, they carried with them the memory of a brave young girl whose quick thinking and unwavering determination had inspired them, and countless others, more than they could have imagined. The days following the rescue brought a whirlwind of attention for Maya and her family. News outlets across the country picked up their story, highlighting the young girl's bravery and the unexpected involvement of two wrestling legends. Social media buzzed with posts about the incident, many praising Maya as a symbol of courage and resilience. For a 12-year-old who had always preferred staying in the background, it was both overwhelming and surreal. At school, Maya became an instant celebrity. Her classmates crowded around her during recess, peppering her with questions about the storm, the rescue, and what it was like meeting the Rock and John Cena. Some kids even asked if she could introduce them to the wrestlers. Teachers made announcements over the intercom, congratulating Maya for her quick thinking and calm under pressure. One teacher even dedicated a lesson to Morse code, using Maya's story as an example of how knowledge can save lives. Maya's parents, Lisa and Marcus, were proud but also protective. They fielded calls from reporters and monitored social media to ensure their daughter wasn't overwhelmed by the sudden fame. "It's important that we keep things normal for her," Lisa told Marcus one evening. "She's still just a kid." Marcus nodded in agreement. "Yeah, but I have to admit it's hard not to feel proud when people call her a hero." Meanwhile, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena found themselves reflecting on the rescue too. Both men were used to being in the spotlight, but this experience felt different. It wasn't about performing in front of thousands or winning championships. It was about making a real impact on someone's life. In interviews, they continued to emphasize Maya's role in the rescue, redirecting any praise toward her. "She's the reason we were able to help," Dwayne said during a morning talk show appearance. "If she hadn't sent that signal, who knows what might have happened?" John echoed the sentiment in his own interviews. Maya showed incredible strength that night. She reminded us all that heroes come in all ages and sizes. Inspired by Maya's courage, the two men decided to go a step further. They reached out to the Johnson family personally, inviting them to attend one of their upcoming wrestling events as VIP guests. "We'd love for you to join us," Dwayne wrote, in a heartfelt message. "You deserve a night of fun after everything you've been through." When Maya received the invitation, she couldn't believe it. "They want us to come?" she asked her parents, her voice filled with disbelief. "To see them wrestle?" Lisa smiled, holding back tears. "Yes, sweetheart. They really mean it." The event took place at a massive arena packed with fans eager to see their favorite wrestlers in action. When the Johnsons arrived, they were greeted like royalty. A limousine picked them up from their hotel, and staff members escorted them to premium seats right next to the ring. Maya wore a bright yellow shirt with The Rock's signature eyebrow logo on the front, while her parents sported matching caps signed by John Cena. As the crowd cheered and chanted, Maya looked around in awe. The energy in the arena was electric, unlike anything she had ever experienced. But the highlight of the night came when Dwayne and John stepped into the ring together. Before the match began, they called Maya down to join them. Nervously, Maya climbed the steps leading to the ring. Her heart raced as thousands of eyes turned to her, but she reminded herself to stay calm, just like she had during the storm. When she reached the center of the ring, Dwayne and John stood on either side of her, towering protectively over her small frame. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dwayne announced, his booming voice echoing through the arena, "this is Maya Johnson. She's the bravest 12-year-old I've ever met, and tonight she's our special guest." The crowd erupted into applause, chanting Maya's name. John added, "She didn't wait for someone else to save her. She took action, and because of her, her family is safe. That's true strength." Dwayne then handed Maya a microphone, encouraging her to say a few words. Shy at first, Maya hesitated, but when she saw the supportive smiles of her parents sitting ringside, she found her voice. "Thank you," she began, her words steady despite the nerves. "I'm so happy to be here. Meeting you guys meant a lot to me, and I'll never forget what you did for my family. You're my heroes." Her simple yet heartfelt speech moved everyone in the arena, including Dwayne and John. As the crowd cheered, the two wrestlers lifted Maya's arms in victory, symbolizing her triumph over fear and adversity. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment forever. After the match, which ended in a playful draw between Dwayne and John, the Johnsons were invited backstage to meet the wrestlers again. There, Maya got to ask all the questions she had been dying to know. How do you train? What's it like inside the ring? Do you ever get scared? Dwayne and John answered patiently, sharing stories and offering advice. Never stop believing in yourself, John told her. You've already proven how strong you are. Keep going, no matter what challenges come your way. Dwayne nodded, adding, and remember, you've got a whole team rooting for you now, including us. Back home, life slowly returned to normal for the Johnson family. Maya went back to school, where her classmates still treated her like a star. Lisa and Marcus resumed work, grateful for the reminder of how precious life could be. Yet the memory of that stormy night and the kindness of two strangers lingered in their hearts. For Dwayne and John, the experience reinforced why they loved what they did. Fame gave them opportunities to inspire others, but moments like these reminded them of the deeper purpose behind their success. They often thought about Maya, wondering how she was doing and hoping she continued to shine brightly. Weeks later, Maya received a package in the mail. Inside was a framed photo of her standing in the ring with Dwayne and John, surrounded by cheering fans. Beneath the picture was a note written in bold letters. To Maya, the real champion. Never lose sight of your strength. Love, The Rock. And John Cena. Maya held the frame close, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. She realized something important that day. Sometimes the smallest actions can lead to the biggest changes. Whether it was sending an SOS signal in the middle of a storm or simply believing in herself, Maya knew she had the power to make a difference, not just for her family, but for anyone lucky enough to witness her courage. And as she placed the framed photo on her bedroom shelf, she smiled, knowing that the bond she shared with Dwayne and John would last a lifetime. In the weeks that followed the rescue and the wrestling event, Maya's life settled into a new rhythm. The excitement of being in the spotlight began to fade, but the lessons she had learned stayed with her. She started to see herself differently, not just as a regular 12-year-old girl, but as someone who could handle challenges and make a difference when it mattered most. Her parents noticed the change too. Lisa often found Maya practicing Morse code with her flashlight in her room, determined to perfect the skill that had saved their lives. At school, Maya became known not only for her bravery, but also for her willingness to help others. When a classmate struggled with math homework, Maya offered to stay after school to tutor them. If someone dropped their books in the hallway, she was quick to bend down and lend a hand. Her teacher, Mrs. Carter, pulled her aside one day and said, "Maya, you've always been kind, but lately you seem even more thoughtful. What's changed?" Maya shrugged, smiling shyly. "I guess I just realized that helping people feels good, and sometimes little things can mean a lot." Mrs. Carter nodded, clearly proud. "You're growing up to be an amazing young woman, Maya. Keep shining." The connection between Maya and her two heroes, Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, and John Cena, didn't end with the wrestling event. Both men kept in touch, sending occasional messages of encouragement or sharing updates about their lives. One day, Maya received a video call invitation from Dwayne himself. Nervous but excited, she accepted. When Dwayne's face appeared on the screen, his signature grin instantly put her at ease. "Hey there, champ," he said, his voice booming even through the phone. "How's my favorite hero doing?" Maya giggled, clutching the phone tightly. "Hi, Mr. Johnson, I'm okay. How are you?" "I'm great, thanks for asking," Dwayne replied. "Listen, I wanted to tell you something important. You know how you helped your family during that storm? Well, that same courage is inside you every day. Don't ever forget that." Maya nodded, feeling a lump rise in her throat. "Thank you," she whispered. "That means a lot." John Cena joined the conversation next, surprising Maya further. "Hey, kid. We miss seeing you around. You're still our VIP guest anytime you want to come back." "I'd love that," Maya said, her eyes lighting up. "Maybe someday I'll get to watch another match." "You bet," John replied. "And maybe by then you'll have some new tricks up your sleeve, like learning how to body slam me." They all laughed, and for a few minutes the conversation felt like catching up with old friends rather than talking to global superstars. Before they signed off, Dwayne added, "Keep being you, Maya. The world needs more people like you." After the call ended, Maya sat quietly for a moment, processing everything they had said. Their words stayed with her, echoing in her mind whenever she faced a challenge. Whether it was standing up for a friend or trying out for the school play despite her nerves, Maya reminded herself of what Dwayne and John had told her. She was stronger than she thought. Meanwhile, Dwayne and John continued to draw inspiration from Maya's story. In interviews and public appearances, they often spoke about the importance of recognizing everyday heroes, people who might not wear capes, but whose actions leave lasting impacts. They launched a campaign called Be Someone's Hero, encouraging fans to perform small acts of kindness and share their stories online. The response was overwhelming, with thousands of people posting videos and photos of themselves helping others. One day, while scrolling through social media, Maya stumbled across the campaign. She saw posts from kids her age volunteering at animal shelters, adults mentoring students, and families organizing food drives for neighbors in need. Each story warmed her heart, reminding her that she wasn't alone in wanting to make a difference. Inspired, Maya decided to contribute her own act of kindness. With her parents' help, she organized a community cleanup day in her neighborhood. Armed with trash bags and gloves, Maya invited her classmates, teachers, and neighbors to join her in picking up litter from local parks and streets. To her, delight. Dozens of people showed up, eager to participate. As they worked together, Maya felt a sense of pride she hadn't experienced before. It wasn't just about cleaning up, it was about bringing people together and showing that even small efforts could create big changes. At the end of the day, everyone gathered for a barbecue hosted by Maya's family. Laughter filled the air as people shared stories and thanked Maya for leading the initiative. Lisa watched her daughter from a distance, marveling at how much she had grown. "She's becoming a leader," Marcus observed, wrapping an arm around his wife. "Who would have thought that one night on a boat would lead to this?" Lisa smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "It's not just about that night. It's about how she chose to respond to it." Word of Maya's cleanup project spread quickly, earning her recognition in the local newspaper. A reporter interviewed her, asking how she came up with the idea. Maya hesitated for a moment, then replied, "I just wanted to do something nice for my community. Everyone deserves a clean place to live, and if we all pitch in, we can make it happen." Her humility struck a chord with readers, many of whom were inspired to start their own projects. Even Dwayne and John caught wind of the story and sent congratulatory messages. "Proud of you, champ," Dwayne wrote. "Keep changing the world, one park at a time." John added, "You're proving that heroes don't stop after one act of bravery. They keep going. Keep inspiring us, Maya." Encouraged by their support, Maya began dreaming bigger. She started brainstorming ideas for other ways to help her community, from organizing book drives for underprivileged schools to hosting workshops where kids could learn survival skills like Morse code. Her parents cheered her on, amazed by her determination and creativity. One evening, as Maya sat at the kitchen table sketching plans for her next project, Lisa placed a hand on her shoulder. "You know, sweetheart, you've already done so much. Are you sure you're not taking on too much?" Maya looked up, her expression thoughtful. "I don't think it's about doing too much. It's about doing what I can. If I can help even one person, it's worth it." Marcus nodded, squeezing her hand. "That's exactly right. Just promise us you'll take care of yourself, too, okay?" "I will," Maya promised, smiling. "But I also know that I have people who believe in me, including you guys and Dwayne and John. That makes me feel like I can do anything." As the months passed, Maya's influence continued to grow. She became a role model not only for her peers but for adults as well. People admired her ability to turn fear into strength and her commitment to making the world a better place. Even strangers reached out to thank her, sharing how her story had motivated them to take action in their own lives. Through it all, Maya remained humble, always quick to credit her parents, her teachers, and especially Dwayne and John for supporting her journey. She knew she couldn't have done any of it without them, and she vowed never to take that support for granted. One crisp autumn morning, Maya stood outside her house, watching the sunrise paint the sky in hues of gold and pink. She thought about how far she had come since that stormy night on the boat. Back then, she had been scared and unsure of herself. Now, she felt confident and capable, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With a deep breath, Maya whispered to herself, "I'm not afraid anymore. I know I can handle anything, as long as I keep believing in myself." And as the sun rose higher, casting its light over the world, Maya stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever adventures awaited her. For she knew that true strength wasn't just about surviving storms. It was about finding beauty in the calm afterward and using that peace to uplift others. As the months rolled by, Maya's life continued to evolve in ways she never imagined. Her small acts of kindness had grown into something much bigger, inspiring not only those around her, but also people far beyond her community. The Be Someone's Hero campaign, championed by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena, gained even more traction after Maya's story became a central example of its message. People across the country began sharing their own stories of bravery and compassion, proving that heroes truly came in all shapes and sizes. Maya herself remained grounded despite the growing attention. She attended school, helped her parents with chores, and spent time with her friends just like any other kid. But she also kept finding new ways to make a difference. One day, while volunteering at a local shelter, she met an elderly woman named Mrs. Harper who loved telling stories about her youth. Inspired by the woman's warmth and wisdom, Maya decided to start a storytelling program where seniors could share their experiences with younger generations. The program quickly became a hit. Kids listened eagerly as grandparents recounted tales of adventure, hardship, and triumph. It wasn't just entertainment, it was a bridge between generations, fostering understanding and connection. Maya often sat quietly in the corner during these sessions, soaking in every word. She realized how much history and strength existed within her community, waiting to be shared. Dwayne and John stayed connected to Maya throughout this journey, checking in regularly to see how she was doing. They were genuinely impressed by her creativity and determination. During one video call, John asked, "So, what's next for you, champ? Any big plans?" Maya grinned, holding up a sketch pad filled with ideas. "I want to write a book," she said confidently. "A book about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, like my mom and dad keeping us safe on the boat or you guys coming to rescue us." Dwayne raised his eyebrows, clearly intrigued. "That sounds amazing. What kind of stories would you include?" "All kinds," Maya replied. "Stories about brave kids like me, stories about everyday heroes like teachers and firefighters, and stories about people who help strangers without expecting anything in return." John nodded approvingly. "Now that's a book I'd love to read. Let us know. If you need any help, we've got your back." Their encouragement gave Maya the push she needed to start writing. With guidance from her teacher, Mrs. Carter, she began drafting chapters based on interviews she conducted with neighbors, friends, and family members. Each story highlighted a moment when someone had shown courage, kindness, or resilience. Maya poured her heart into the project, determined to capture the essence of what made each person special. When the first draft was complete, Maya sent copies to Dwayne and John, hoping they would like it. Both men responded enthusiastically, offering feedback and praising her effort. "This is incredible, Maya," Dwayne wrote in a heartfelt email. "You've captured something really powerful here, the idea that everyone has the potential to be a hero." John added, "Your words are going to inspire so many people. Keep going. You're making a real impact." Buoyed by their support, Maya worked tirelessly to refine the manuscript. Eventually, with the help of a local publisher recommended by Mrs. Carter, the book was printed and released under the title, Everyday Heroes, Stories That Change the World. Its cover featured a bright yellow flashlight shining against a dark blue background, a nod to the night that had started it all. The book launch took place at a cozy bookstore downtown, packed with friends, family, and fans eager to celebrate Maya's achievement. Dwayne and John couldn't attend in person but sent video messages congratulating her. On screen, Dwayne held up a copy of the book and said, "This right here is proof that heroes aren't just in movies or wrestling rings, they're everywhere. And Maya, you've shown us exactly how to find them." John chimed in. "We're so proud of you, Maya. You've inspired us, and now you're inspiring the world." As Maya stood behind a small podium reading excerpts from her book, she felt a mix of nerves and excitement. Looking out at the crowd, she saw her parents smiling proudly, her classmates cheering, and even some of the seniors from the storytelling program clapping enthusiastically. For the first time, she fully understood the ripple effect of her actions. That single night on the boat had sparked a chain reaction, leading to opportunities she never dreamed possible. After the event, Maya signed copies of her book for attendees, chatting with readers about their favorite stories. One boy, no older than 8, approached her shyly and said, "I want to be brave like you someday." Maya knelt down to meet his gaze, her voice soft but firm. "You already are brave. Just keep believing in yourself, okay?" The boy nodded, clutching the signed book tightly as he walked away. Maya watched him go, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Writing the book hadn't been easy, but seeing its impact made every late night and revision worth it. Back home, Maya, placed the framed photo of her standing in the wrestling ring alongside her new book on her bedroom shelf. Together, they represented 2 milestones in her journey, moments when she had stepped outside her comfort zone and discovered her inner strength. As she gazed at them, she thought about how much she had grown, not because of fame or recognition, but because of the choices she had made along the way. Her parents joined her in her room, sitting on the edge of her bed. Lisa hugged her tightly, saying, "We're so proud of you, sweetheart. You've done things most adults haven't even dreamed of doing." Marcus ruffled her hair affectionately. "And you did it all with kindness and humility. That's what makes you truly special." Maya smiled, leaning into their embrace. "Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. I couldn't have done it without you, or without Dwayne and John." Though her adventures weren't over yet, Maya knew she had built a foundation of courage and compassion that would guide her through whatever lay ahead. Whether it was writing another book, organizing more community projects, or simply being there for someone in need, she was ready to face the future head-on. One evening, as she sat on the porch watching the stars twinkle in the sky, Maya reflected on everything that had happened since that stormy night on the boat. She thought about the flashlight that had once signaled for help and now symbolized hope. She thought about the 2 wrestling legends who had become lifelong mentors. And she thought about the countless lives touched by her efforts, lives that reminded her of the beauty in humanity. With a contented sigh, Maya whispered to herself, "It's not about being perfect. It's about trying your best and helping others along the way." And as the cool breeze rustled through the trees, carrying with it the promise of endless possibilities, Maya felt at peace. She knew she wasn't alone in her journey. She had her family, her friends, and even distant heroes like Dwayne and John cheering her on. More importantly, she had herself, a young girl who had learned that true strength came from the heart. For Maya Johnson, the adventure was far from over. But wherever life took her next, she vowed to carry the lessons she had learned and continue shining her light, just as she had done on that unforgettable night.